Today we're going to install an ND97. That's a corridor function lock. And we're going to start out just by putting in our latch. We always want to make sure that the bevel of our latch is going to be facing toward the door frame where we would close the door, and that strike plate's going to hit the bevel. So that goes into our mount first, and we're going to use our two screws. These are screws that are made to go in both wood as well as into a metal door, hollow metal door. All right, once we have our screws in, then we can get ready to put in our chassis. I also want to make sure that it is adjusted correctly for door thickness. Part of the improvements that have been made to the ND lock include our nylon piece here that's going to keep the door adjustment plate from rotating freely, and it's also going to provide a positive stop for us. Parts of our chassis that's new for our improvements that we made on the ND is our little gripper that's right here. That's for our hassle-free installation of our anti-rotation plate. When our anti-rotation plate goes on, it's going to grip that nice and firmly so it won't fall off. So we're going to put our chassis in first. As the chassis goes in, we want to make sure that the latch is going to interconnect with our slide and our slide clip on the chassis. So that goes in, make sure it's nice and interconnected. Then we're going to put our anti-rotation plate on and take advantage of our hassle-free gripper that's on there. That way it's not going to fall off, and it's not going to fall off during the installation process. To time our locks correctly, we want to make sure that we take a screwdriver and just lightly turn clockwise on our key cam. As long as that is turned clockwise and we have our cylinder already in the outside lever, we can put the outside trim on, and it will always be timed correctly. Doesn't matter what function it is. And we just have to line up the holes for our through bolts, put our outside trim on, and it's going to be timed correctly. Once we have our outside trim on, then we can put our inside spring cage and spindle on. We always make sure that our retainer for the levers is going to be facing the latch side. So we can put in our two through bolt screws. Those are the only two screws that we need to hold our lock on the door itself. Once we get our screws all the way in, then we can tighten it. All right, once we put our through bolt screws in, then we're ready to put our rose on the inside. Now the rose has two dimples on there. There's one in each side, and we have two grooves in our spring cage. All we have to do is slide those dimples right through those grooves, and then we just rotate it a little bit clockwise to lock it in place. The inside lever is going to go on. We do have part of our improvement is our soft durometer spacer. That's going to hold our lever in a nice firm way so that there is less wobble to the lever. So once we get our lever started, we just want to make sure that the button's going to come out, and I want to push down on this toward the front of the lock, and when you hear the click, you know that it's locked in place and it's not going to come off at this point. Once everything is on, we do want to check and verify the operation of the lock. We can lock the outside by pushing in the button if you're inside the room. This is a vandal guard, so I can turn the lever and it will not retract the latch. The button will pop out if I turn the inside lever. Or what's different about this lock function is that if I push the button in and then leave the room by closing the door, the button will also pop out. So it has that restoring feature. Well, it forces people to take their keys with them, so when they get ready to leave, they're going to put the key in and turn it one full rotation counterclockwise to lock the door, and then when they come back, one full rotation clockwise to unlock the door. A disassembly is very, very simple. Again, we're going to use our new Schlage lever removal tool. This one is made so that we can remove any kind of lever that we have on any Schlage lock. So levers on the ND, on the old D knobs. We also can remove the levers from our mortise locks, as well as remove the inside rows from the old D knobs as well. We're just going to use our end of our tool here to push in on the retainer. We can take our inside lever off. Then we're going to go back and remove our rows. So we just rotate that back again. Once we have our rows off, then we can go ahead and loosen up our through-bolt screws. So once the through-bolt screws are removed, I can take my inside spring cage off, and then I can also remove my outside trim. My anti-rotation plate is still held in place by our hassle-free gripper. So we just have to push a little bit just to get it to come off, and there's our lock fully removed from our door.